Hello and welcome to this week's programme, which is all about vegetarian foods. But it isn't just for vegetarians, because quite honestly, I don't think our future is going to contain as much meat as we've been used to, and so it's very challenging to find alternatives to meat some of the time, if not all of the time. Well, first of all, I'd like to show you a few vegetarian dishes. I've got in front of me here a thick onion tart, and that's made with caramelised onions and cheese and eggs, and it's got a whole wheat pastry, and that would be a very substantial main course for 4 people. Next door here, I've got something that you may not have tried before, but I'd like you to try because it's much more delicious, in fact, than it looks. That is a curried nut roast, and that's got lots of chunky vegetables in, curry spices and nuts. Next door, I've got something which I like to call non-meat loaf. And what it's got in it, instead of meat, is whole lentils and split peas and lots of chunky vegetables. But before we do any cooking, I'd like to destroy one of the myths about not eating meat. A lot of people think that you've got to have roast beef and really thick beef steaks if you're going to have any energy. And that just isn't true. And by way of proving that point, I went to see someone who I think has energy plus, the very talented and lovely Kate Bush. First of all, Kate, how long have you been a vegetarian? All your life?
No, I haven't. It's about 5 years now.
And what made you decide in the first place?
Well, I think ever since I've been quite young, I've always felt not bad, but a bit guilty about eating meat because the fact that animals are killed, and in a lot of cases in a very unnecessary way, you know, there's big exploitation on animals. And one day I just had a stew and tried to eat a bit of meat in the stew, and it was so raw that I just identified immediately with the fact that it was an animal, that this thing was alive and it had been killed for me to eat it. And I thought, no, I'm not into this. So I thought I'll become a vegetarian. And I didn't have a clue, you know, I had no idea what I could eat. All I knew was that people didn't eat meat or fish. And I used to eat a lot of chocolate, so I lived for the next week off chocolate and tea.
Well, that can't be very good.
Well, no, this is what I thought. So eventually, through meeting other friends that were vegetarians and books and things, I managed to get a diet together.
Good.
And it's fantastic because when I ate meat, I wouldn't touch vegetables. I hated them. But since I've become vegetarian, I'll eat nearly any vegetable, you know. So it's really broadened my diet.
Now, in front of us here, we've got some of your favourite vegetarian dishes. Is this the sort of typical food you'd serve if you had some friends coming around?
Yes, it is really. My sister-in-law, in fact, cooked this, and she's made a selection of salads, and probably what I'd do is just put it all in one, just make a big salad. Yes. But it is what I would cook, yeah.
Let's have a look at this one first. And this is vegetables. What sort of vegetables are in here?
Well, we've got carrots, mushrooms, tomatoes, onion and peppers.
And they're just sort of cooked in their own juices?
Yes, she did them just naturally. You can cook them in... You can even cook them in Marmite. That's like a good gravy substitute. And soy sauce is very good. All sorts of things.
That's going to be served with this?
Brown rice.
And how do you cook the brown rice?
It's very easy, really. You just boil it in water with salt.
That looks really nutty and crunchy.
It's wonderful. It's so good for you. You know, it's the real stuff.
Now, this here, what's this mixture? Because this really does look interesting.
Well, that's roasted sunflower seeds and sesame seeds, and they're in soy sauce.
I see. So you put a little bit of soy sauce just to give them a flavour and roast them. And how do you eat them?
Well, you can, like, just sprinkle them over salads, which is fantastic.
I see.
But in fact, it's quite nice by itself.
Yes, yes.
Makes you feel a bit like a parrot, but they're really good.